You are listening to the WillPower Podcast. Welcome to the show. I am Will Holdren, and I talk with some of the most influential CEOs, entrepreneurial leaders, and thought leaders to reveal the secrets that have led to their success. I believe that with the right knowledge and mindset, you can do anything you say your mind to. So if you want to learn how to change your life for the better, if you want to learn how millionaires actually became wealthy, or if you want to develop and start your own business from the ground up with the right knowledge to help you, then you are in the right place because this is the WillPower Podcast. How's it going, everyone? My name is Will Holdren. I am the host of the WillPower Podcast. There we have an amazing real estate expert and entrepreneur, and her name is Melissa Horbelt. And Melissa is actually the owner of First Class Real Estate Lanier Group, and she is based out of Georgia. And on top of that, she's really growing one of the fastest and biggest teams in the state, doing a lot of incredible things on the real estate side of things. So first and foremost, Melissa, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thanks, Will. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. I love everything you're doing with real estate right now, how fast you're growing your team. And I know we were talking before about how you transitioned to real estate from an industry that was not related to it whatsoever. So I'm excited to jump into that story a little bit later on. But starting out, walk me through, growing up, what that was like. And did you always have an entrepreneurial spirit, or when did you decide to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, actually, pretty early on, I've actually been an entrepreneur all my life. I love reading. I love developing myself. I think from second grade on, my parents tell me I want to be a lawyer. So that's what I've always wanted to be my entire life, pretty much until high school, early college. I took pre-law classes. That changed into political science. So that's where I wanted to go, campaign management all through school. Worked my way through school in the restaurant business, and so in the bar business, and so that went into managing restaurants, opening restaurants, and so
Wow.
I developed into opening different franchises, and that went into my career, and so that switched into my career for almost 25 years, into working into restaurants, working through my way through college, kind of sidetracked into pivoted into selling different restaurant franchises, and kind of grew with that whole industry all through college. So it really kind of morphed into a different career path for me.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I definitely love the transition too, starting out in law. I think a lot of kids growing up, their parents like, be an engineer, and you got that in your mind, be an engineer, be a lawyer. And then you realize later on, you know what, maybe that's not the right path I want to go down. Right. So I think some kids definitely go through that. So out of college, you mentioned that you went into the restaurant world. So were you working for a company at this time? I know you mentioned you were buying franchises. Was that you personally buying them? Was your company buying them, or how did that process work?
Yeah, so I worked for an owner in Roswell, Georgia. His name was Pierre Panos, and it was a private company, Brookwood Grill in Roswell, Georgia. And so I started working as a server, and just working our way through school, ended up being a bartender very, very quickly. Obviously that paid bills very, very well. Then it ended up being a restaurant manager for a very long time. That he morphed into other businesses, other restaurants. Didn't really want to do restaurant management for the rest of my life because I, started a family, got married. So worked kind of side by side with him in his at the corporate headquarters, because that was more of my thing. I wanted to learn more of the corporate business. He had he owned several other companies. He had Papa John's. He had probably like 64 Papa John's companies, and he was opening up a different concept. It was our sister store from the company that I managed for several years. So that kind of piqued my interest. He told me I could work remotely and at our corporate headquarters, and not have to go into the restaurant field and manage that part. So I was like, okay, maybe. So I helped him and our chef develop this new sister company. It was called Fresh to Order, and kind of took over the business for the catering department, developed that side of the business for him, and then took over the catering development for that business and helped develop it out to sell franchises for him eventually.
Wow.
And then helped travel and sold, um, developed franchises and then helped train their catering directors to help build out their businesses for them to, so it could be profitable. So that's what I kind of pivoted from him for one restaurant to a different chain, and then learning different marketing. So I did marketing, and then learned that from the grassroots up, and then did the entire marketing for him and then all of his other sister companies, while I was with him in the restaurant. So I learned how to do marketing, developed the restaurants, opened, and trained, different, catering directors, developed menus, worked with the head chefs, and then also helped him, develop different real estate, and helped him look over different contracts. And so that kind of piques my interest in real estate, on the corporate level and commercial level. And so looking over different contracts and opening up different stores, I started looking over those types of contracts and commercial, contracts.
One of the things we always say is that no matter what business you're in, you're pretty much going to be in the relationship business, right? And I think it's so cool seeing your story. When out of college, you got an opportunity to work with someone that was going out there building businesses and being an owner of these companies. And you obviously got to grow that relationship close to him and really see what he was doing to kind of grow his portfolio. And you were right there being the one kind of his right-hand man, wearing all the different hats, right? Doing the marketing stuff. And I think that's so important for people to understand that starting out, it's so key to have that person in your life you can kind of mentor and grow up and kind of see like what they're doing. And then you can learn what they're doing, right? And then you can transition that to what you're doing in your life. So yeah.
100%.
So with that being said, what are some of the main key takeaways that you learned when you got to shadow this owner and see like what he was doing expanding? I mean, was that when you first realized like I got to be a business owner? I'm seeing the value in that. I'm seeing the value in real estate. Is that when all those thoughts started to formulate?
It's definitely when it started to feel that I wanted more. I've always definitely wanted more for myself and figured out that, I've always been a hustler and building those types of relationships and wanting more. I learned and figured out more about balancing budgets and wearing different hats, right? And building out my portfolio of people and building partnerships and networking. And that's the biggest thing that I learned from him, and just being able to, being a business owner really, and it's very scary, and being able
Yeah.
to finally, it wasn't until really COVID hit, until I found out that anybody was expendable, right?
Mm.
And then I had to pivot very quickly, into real estate. And that was, really when I jumped head first, into betting on myself, instead of someone else. So that's really when I wanted to completely just take the head dive into really betting on myself, me and my husband, instead of working for someone else, and taking the dive in and 100% saying, you know what, I can do this for myself,
Yeah.
and get my real estate license. It's no longer really valid anymore with COVID and what's happening around the world, and taking all of these life lessons and all these little bits of pieces that I've learned from all these great people and mentors in my lifetime, and all these different jobs and hats that I wore, and take it and put it into real estate.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, it's interesting. So COVID definitely affected the restaurant industry and pretty much turned it upside down. So was that pretty much the catalyst factor that was it that made you, I'm done, I'm switching, I have to switch? Do you feel that
Yeah.
do you feel that if COVID never happened, you would still be working in that position?
It's hard to say. Well, I mean, I like to say that, I would have bet on myself really at some point and taken the leap, but I
Yeah.
think everybody needs a little bit of a push.
Yeah.
And that really was the switch factor for me, to just do it, to just go for it and just do it. And now I feel like it's the first time in my life where I'm doing something that I truly love, and I can use this story, to inspire so many people that
Yeah.
are on that fence or on the cliff, and inspire so many agents, or that are or not knowing what they want to do, right? And still, can feel like that they can still bet on themselves, or that are stuck in salaried position making money for somewhere else, and that or maybe in a salaried position that are putting food on the table for, paying their bills, that are unhappy. That's what I was kind of doing. I was making great money until I didn't, but I was making great money, but I was working 60, 70 hours a week, with no flexibility for my family, with no flexibility to go on vacations, with my phone tied around my neck 24/7. Now I'm able just to have so much flexibility to travel, to be with family, to tuck my kid in at night, to have dinners, to do so much more, and I'm able to share my story and hopefully inspire others to do the same.
Absolutely. And your story is really incredible, because just like you were talking about, there's so many people that are on the fence that are like, I want to do it, but I want to do it, but I just can't get over that fence. It's interesting. I interview a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of them have that moment where like the pain of staying was greater than the pain of leaving, right? So they made that decision to completely switch and start something brand new, even though it's really scary. It's a new industry, no W-2 check coming in every 2 weeks like clockwork, right? That's a whole different conversation, a whole different mindset you got to have to succeed in a new industry. So for you, kind of walk me through what that transition period was like for you. Obviously, cutting off W-2 directly, jumping into real estate. How scary was that? And what was kind of your first action item in real estate?
Well, it was a tough conversation with me and my husband. I mean, we obviously had to sit down and, put a spreadsheet together and say, can we really, really do this? And, luckily we were very fortunate that had, a little bit in our savings account, and we financially planned a little bit of a nest egg, but not too much, So, we first went into real estate, head first. We got our real estate license, and we both went in production head first. And we're able to, be successful. He went into first class right away. I went into a boutique brokerage. I wanted to go into the listing side and dove headfirst into that. And then when we finally opened up our first class brokerage, we wanted to give our agents an opportunity to be able to get a hold of us 24/7, and able to give our leads out to all of them, and not be able to take anything from our agents, and also be able to give back to them everything. And so that also was very another kind of jumping off the cliff, because we gave up all of our production, and we gave up all of our clients that we just got, back, once we just started this new career. We just kind of said, okay, we're going to give back again and start from scratch, and then have no income coming in again, and then start this brand new brokerage and start recruiting right off the ground. So that was another just, head first dive into the great unknown. But looking back on it, I think that it was a choice that I would make again and again and again. If you ask any one of our agents right now, they would say that 100% that we are here for them, 24/7. We give them great support. I think that it's a great recruiting tool. I think that that's why we have great agent retention, is that we don't take any of our, referrals away from our agents. Our agents are our clients in turn, and that we can give them everything, support, referrals, all of that stuff. So, it works out beautifully.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that. And there's a really important part I want to dive into a little bit deeper here. So I'm just curious, how long were you in the real estate industry before you started up your own brokerage, before you got that started?
Before we started our real estate brokerage, I was not even in it for a year and a half.
A year and a half. So that to me is really incredible, right? So what made you feel like you were qualified to start up your own brokerage and then make that jump? Because I think a lot of people have this myth in their mind, like, I gotta wait like 5 to 10 years. I could become an expert, right? But that's really not the case. And you kind of just debunked that with your story. So
no, well, I mean, first class gave us the opportunities to give everything that we could do in a box to open up our real estate brokerage. I mean, so I really just have to give everything back to, Ryan Finch, first class, everything that we have all the great opportunities that first class gave us, and our leaders that we just gave and said, here you go, now open a real estate brokerage. They gave us the tools, everything that we needed, and the support, to be able to go and do that. I will say that, we've done our research, and with everything else that we've learned so far, all the other big box brokerages don't work like First Class does. The leaders and the owners that I've come in contact with and that I've worked with in the short time that I've been in production and not in production now, it's more of a cutthroat business. It's more of a not a teamage. No one wants to share. No one wants to help. No one wants to see each other be successful, even within the same big box. That is not like that at First Class. Everyone wants to help each other. Everyone wants each other to be successful. We share each other's success stories. We help each other say, this is what we're doing right now. This is what we're doing right now within our agency that's working. Here, take our notes. Here, take our checklist. Here, take this and share. And so I think that that's why we were able to get jump started so quickly. We were able to take what has worked, what hasn't worked, from the leadership up above us, from people that have been in the industry for decades. And so that's kind of trickled down to us, and we are forever grateful for that.
Yeah. So it's not going out there and trying to reinvent the wheel, right? You already got systems that work. You already got all the documents that work. So
That's the
copy and
beauty of
paste,
us,
right?
say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Copy and paste. Exactly. So yes, that's incredible. And obviously when you start a first brokerage, you need to bring agents in, right? So that's one of the big things, is trying to recruit agents. So walk me through that process for you. And obviously you guys are crushing it right now because you guys are growing at a fast clip. So what is your guys' method for recruiting, and has that changed since when you first started your brokerage?
Yeah, most definitely. So, at the very beginning of the gates, so we didn't even have anything together. In the very beginning, we met with our owner, we met with all of our leadership. They were like, recruit, 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 recruit. I'm like, I don't even have our onboarding systems together. I don't even have our classroom. They were like, recruit, 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 solves everything. And so we were like, well, what do we do? So start with the schools, start with, people outside, that are just getting their license, that are just going into the schools, people maybe that are interested in real estate. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, get them into schools, start partnering with real estate schools. So that's what me and Warren did. Me and my husband did. We did it for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, honestly, probably 10, all day long. Our recruiting calls were started for like almost like an hour per person. And we were just practicing our scripts. We didn't even know what we were doing. We were talking to everyone that would listen. And we were so passionate because we were just getting in, right? And so we believed in First Class Real Estate. They gave us everything. We were so passionate about, we believed in it. We were going to change lives. We were doing this. And so we brought everybody on board. Everybody, we were getting into schools. We partnered with all of these great real estate schools. They gave, these incentives. They gave these discount codes. Man, we were getting everybody into schools. And then we were following up with these students. We're going to help and mentor you through these school programs. We were putting them on our calendars. We felt like we were family by the time they graduate these classrooms. And then so by the time they graduated and and got their, training and their licenses, we were giving them sponsor and broker forms, and they were coming right into our roster. And so by then we had our classroom set up, starting our onboarding programs were a little bit set up by then. And so our recruiting numbers were really starting to take off right out of the gate. And then it was starting to, we started to get our numbers up. Now we have to start taking these baby agents and start working on production, because we have leads. We had really great leads. We were on lead platforms, and now we have to get them to start producing. And that's what I started working on. We had, my husband was starting on getting more recruits, and then the other part was production. And then that kind of went hand in hand, and you never take the gas off recruiting, so that, you still work on, recruiting never stops. And then you start working on your production hand in hand. And then we grew to about 80 agents. And then that lets off a little bit, because you're going to have some that, make it, some quit. And then you just keep hiring. And then hopefully, at the end of our first year, I think we had about 50 agents.
Wow.
And then we started into year the second part of our first year. And then we started having, they really started producing, and then it really took off from there.
Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, 50 agents after your first year is pretty much unheard of, right? Especially for people know anything about this industry. That is really, really difficult to do. But I mean, it sounds like you guys had a system in place, and like you said, you were working a lot. Like there's times in life you need to be able to grind out a lot of hours in a day, and it sounds like you guys took full advantage of that. And there's periods where you're working like 100-hour weeks, right? So it was a lot.
It was. Well, when you don't have anything coming in, you
Yeah.
needed to make sure that production was going to be rolling in soon.
Yep, your back was against the wall. You got one spot to go, and that's up. So
That's true.
that's super cool. But yeah, it sounds like your system was amazing, getting close to the source of people that obviously are joining the industry, and then also being able to supply them leads so you can come in here and step in and just be successful right at the gate, which I think a lot of brokerages don't really do. Right? They expect you to come in and find your own leads, right? Go to friends, go to family, and that's how they teach it.
Yes.
So kind of talk me through what is your lead source? Because be able to provide leads to your agents is absolutely incredible opportunity for both your agents and for you. But it sounds like you guys are crushing on the leads front. So how are you going out there and sourcing those leads and finding those leads?
We're very fortunate to have great lead platforms here in Georgia and South Carolina. So we have a Zillow Flex account. We're very, very fortunate to have one of those. We know that a lot of those are being disregarded. So we are still very fortunate to have that. So we have Zillow Flex. We have a great OpCity account, experience level of that. We have Prime Street, and then we have Ojo. So we have very, very great experienced platformed lead accounts. These are live connection leads. So these are leads that actually ring agents' phone numbers in the zip codes that they live in. So they don't have to come to our office because we're a virtual office, but we do have an agent center that they can go to. So they are able to pick up their phone in their home office. They can set the radius to 20 miles, 60 miles, however they want their market for their business platform to work. These people have their hands up that they're ready to purchase, whether it be 30 days or 90 days, they want to go see a property today, tomorrow, or this week. So these agents are ready to rock and roll. All they have to do is answer their phone. So that is perfect. So we're able to jumpstart any agent's career or build out their business right away. And so that's a very, very powerful recruiting tool right out of the gate, whether they're a brand new agent or whether they are just trying to build out their current sphere. They can use that to kind of jumpstart it. And then in turn, we coach them on how to build off of that referral business, build out from that their sphere business. So not only do we help them connect them to their lead systems, we have multiple trainings that help them coach them to close these deals. So we have multiple vendors, multiple first-class vendors that we have vetted very, very thoroughly, that we connect them to, that are help them close these deals, that are great vendor partners that will just hold their hands and help their buyers, lenders and title companies, closing attorneys, inspectors, all these great people that will in turn help them close the properties and get their buyers into the homes of their dreams.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, for any agent stepping into this industry, it sounds like that would be a no-brainer, that is the brokerage I would want to join. And that's obviously how you want to position yourself, right? Because that's how you're going to go faster over time. Just out of curiosity, how many agents do you guys have now on your entire team?
In the entire team right now, we are about 65, 68, we set it about currently.
Awesome. How big are you trying to grow it, looking forward? Do you have any goals in mind?
I like to sit about right now. This is our happy place. Each month, our goal is to hire about 10. That's our goal, because we know that we are going to lose a few here and there. Normally, it's about one or so per month. I don't like to lose any more because we do have a very high retention rate. You have some that are not going to produce, though. We do hire a lot of part-time agents because a lot of agents, in my opinion, get fall through the cracks. There's a lot of brokers that won't even reach out to a part-time agent. They won't even hire a part-time agent. They won't hire an agent that doesn't have, anything less than $500 million production. I want to hire everybody. Everybody deserves an opportunity in my brokerage. Everybody deserves an opportunity to become a full-time agent. Everybody has to put food on their plate for their family. So they have to do what they have to do. I'm just going to give everybody that opportunity, no matter if they need to close 3 deals a year or 103 deals a year. My brokerage has the box to give your business that opportunity. And depending on your goals, I'm going to sit down with you after you sign on, and I'm going to build that business plan for you and hold you accountable to it. And that's kind of the business plan that we make for you.
Yeah. And just like we touched on earlier, it's that important to have that mentorship, because that can really lead you from 0 to 1, taking that first step towards success. Kind of like, it's kind of mimicking what you did earlier on in your career, right? Following a mentor, seeing what he's doing. Now you're really giving a new agent the opportunity to work with you, specifically like one-on-one. And that to me is invaluable, right? Because that's how you're going to step up your game, you're going to grow, and you're going to shorten up your learning curve and really become the agent that you want to be. So like I said, it's really a no-brainer when it comes to that. But let me jump into your personal life here. So for you personally, obviously you and your husband have this brokerage, you're crushing it right now. Looking ahead in the future, I mean, what are your guys' big goals? What do you hope to accomplish with this brokerage? I mean, what numbers are you trying to hit? Do you have any metrics for that kind of stuff?
We do. We have lofty goals right now. We're in Georgia and South Carolina. I hope to be in Tennessee by the end of this year, and other states as well. That's kind of our goal right now. We're just going to keep expanding and growing. I think we're in a very happy count right now as far as Georgia goes. Of course, we're always hiring, and just to really expand in other states is kind of our goal, and just to keep expanding and giving more and more agents the opportunity that we had with First Class, and hopefully just build out their business. So that's kind of the goal for now, is to just keep growing, obviously, more ratifieds, and that opportunity for our business here in Georgia, the agent count I'm happy with, and then just probably expanding into more states.
Right. Well, I'm sure it'll happen because you guys have already had such an amazing track record of success. So, a lot of entrepreneurs, obviously, when they start a business, start their career out and growing their business, one of the things that's important is obviously figuring out how they're going to exit their business down the line. I know you're early on in this your broker as well, and you got quite some time till that might even cross your mind. But I'm just curious, have you thought about what your exit strategy might be down the road to see how you're going to exit it properly, and what that's going to look like for you?
We have a little bit. We have plans in place for everything for the brokerage just to run itself. And that's always the plan. And that's the great beauty of First Class, is to hire and implement, right? And hiring the right people and implement the right strategy. So a lot of these moving parts is something that we can just put in place and hire and have it just running itself. But we also have a daughter who, if she wants to take over, she can definitely take over the business. If she wants to go into real estate, I'm not so sure if that's her career path or not. We shall see. So that is undecided at this point.
Gotcha. And yeah, like you said, it all depends on what she wants, right? So that's something that's obviously very important. So I love that. It sounds like you guys put some thought into it as well, and it'd be cool to see what happens here in the next couple of years going forward. Before we run out of time, I just got a couple more questions for you. So one, I'm just curious, just from this is gonna be a totally unrelated, different topic, but I want to see your thoughts about AI and like how that's really gonna affect what you're doing in brokerages, any new things that are gonna be coming because of AI and new stuff. So have you seen any changes in the industry because of that, or anything along those lines?
Yes. You know what? We've been talking about AI for quite a while in real estate. I love pivoting and I love technology. So you bring me new technology, I am all in and sinking in 100%. So I've been digging into AI for a while in my business, in real estate and for a while. So I've been using it for marketing. I've been using it for emailing and things like that, texting. We're going to be seeing it for quite some time. I think for the future, is it going to be replacing people? No, I don't think so. Are we going to be seeing it for emailing, for calling, for postcards, for a lot of different marketing spots and data collecting? Absolutely 100%. Is it going to be replacing for a lot of different businesses from a standing point for, yeah, absolutely. It has been for a lot, for quite some time. It's just been called a different verbiage, from what people, understand it from now. So, it's just more technology. It's how we grow. And if you're not constantly looking into new technology and reading about it and learning about it and trying to pivot for your business, then you're just really outdating your business, and you might as well just hang up your closed sign in your doors right now. That's my opinion.
Yes. Every entrepreneur has to be ready to adapt, ready to change. I love that you just said that you love changing, you love taking a pivot and trying out something new. So I think that's such a key element of becoming a successful entrepreneur down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah. So before we hop off, is there anything else that you'd like to say? And if people want to reach out to you or maybe reach out to your brokerage, where can they go to find you and information on your brokerage?
Yeah, so you can go to First Class Lanier Group. We're on Google, we're on Facebook. We are hiring, so come visit us, give us a call. We're in Georgia, we're in South Carolina. We would love to have you. I would love it. So thanks for listening. Give us a shout.
Awesome.
Come see us.
Awesome. All right, guys, there you have it. Melissa Horbelt, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Will. Thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the WillPower Podcast. If that's the case, help us spread the message of positivity and simply wanting a better life by giving us a 5-star review. Until next time, have a great week.